Welcome to this episode of Getting My Cheese Back on the Cracker. I'm Ashley Nicole.
And I'm Paige Benjamin.
And in this episode, we're kicking off Black Music Month with a discussion on music therapy. We've all experienced a feeling of peace or heightened emotion when certain songs come on. Many of us even have playlists that go with that feeling, whether it's working out or relaxing or cleaning, etc. Today, we're going to get into how music plays into our psyche. Let's meet our panel and learn more about them. You got it, Queen.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Nakiba Manier, also known as Nakiba Roots. I am one half of the group Black Roots. We are an Afro-Caribbean soul, hip hop, reggae, dancehall fusion of a collaborative. I'm also a solo artist in my own right, and I'm excited to be here and talk about the healing modalities of music. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, glad to have you. Thank you for joining, Cassius. We're just introducing ourselves. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, my name is Castile, aka Cassius G. Producer, been producing since I was 12 years old. I'm just happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? Happy to be just here in this physical space.
Thank you. I'm glad to have you. And hey, Nick, thank you for joining. We're just doing introductions right quick. Music, all that good stuff.
Oh, is it on me? Do I need to go? Because I'm late. Okay, cool. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Pratt. Rapper, songwriter, singer, arranger, whatever. I've been making music since seriously making music since I was like 9 years old. I've been singing and stuff since I was 2. It come from the soul, and so that's the kind of music I try to make.
Awesome. So music has a way of invoking multiple emotions. It either calms us, excites us, or even makes us sad. How important is music to you, and how has it impacted your mental health? Anybody can jump in at any time.
I guess I'll start. I can do it. Wow. So I think music, for me personally, as an African woman, as a woman of African descent, knowing the healing modalities and the power and the spiritual energy behind music, and coming from like a rich royal musical legacy, it's been a primary tool that I've used through this particular time of being away from folks physically, but wanting to tune to the depths of myself as an artist, as a songwriter, as a creator, knowing that Paul Robeson said that artists are the gatekeepers of truth. And so in tapping into that art and tapping into all of the things that music evokes spiritually, from being able to change a mood, to tap into those healing principles for mental health has been paramount, especially for us as African people during this time when there's been so many things disproportionately bombarding our community. We know we're resistant, we know we're resilient, but we also know to tap into tools that have helped us for centuries, right, since the beginning of our existence of time. And so for me personally, music is not only important, it's paramount. It is the thing that I know that I've tapped into, I've learned to tap into ancestrally to deal with mental health, wellness and issues, and to find words even when words are escaping me. I find it in the lyrics and the rhythms and the melodies of the music.
Well, yeah, I can definitely agree with that to the fullest. I think it's one of those things where once I realized how necessary music was to my well-being, it made it you realize you couldn't really take it for granted, in terms of like what I do choose to ingest musically, what I choose to create, what I choose to collaborate on. Um, I think all of that, these are all things where like you can't really think outside of how you really feel about what you're making or what you're listening to. You can't think from any kind of external source like finances or things like, and sometimes, especially with our careers, sometimes that is necessary, right? But I think that I can speak for all of us when I say we all find better sense of peace when we get to work on the stuff that we really love, or we get to listen to the stuff that we really love instead of the stuff that we're forced to ingest or forced to create or whatever it may be, you know.
I'll jump in here real quick. So yeah, I concur with everything that's been shared. I don't know, when I think about music, right? Like I think about the kind of beings we are, right? Spiritual, vibrational, right? And I think about being moved by different forms of art, different mediums. Like I love all the different kinds of art. You know what I mean? Film, just general visual art, dance, what have you. But I don't ever feel anything the same way that I feel when I'm moved by some powerful music, right? Because I'm moved by music that I don't even consider that powerful. In I guess we'll say in comparison, right? Because I mean, all music is powerful, depending on your approach to having it into your life, right? It does have the power to shift moods, to at times maybe shift perceptions. It speaks. It has the ability to speak to the innermost parts of you, and it doesn't even have to have a lyric on it. You know what I mean? I've listened to some instrumental music that has like changed my life. You know what I'm saying? It's just that powerful, right? We're talking about chords that folks can wake up one day, sit in front of in front of a keyboard, and just put together with their hands without any training. That scientists and mathematicians are able to see the connection to, and the balance of all of it. Thinking about like circles of fifths and things like that, right? Like when you start getting into deep music theory, like there is deep music theory that babies are born with naturally understanding. You know what I'm saying? So like when I think about the power of this art, right, and the way that it exists and the way that it touches folks, does it have the ability to impact my mental health? Hell yeah. How am I allowing it to do that? Right. I think is the other question. Like, what am I feeding myself with? What am I bringing in as a creator? What am I putting out? Because the things that I'm, listening to, I'm ingesting. The things that I'm creating, I'm manifesting. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I can literally look at moments in my life and look back at songs that I've written or, worked on or whatever, and can see correlations between the two. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I mean, this is a power that you could wield, and something that can be dangerous if you're not working with it the right way.
So I want to say, Cassius, thank you so much. As you guys saw, the intro to the podcast has been I guess it's technically an instrumental, the part that we're using, or if that is that actually part of the song.
It's a snip of the song.
Okay, so you're
Yeah, I
on
admit
mute,
it.
but
Yeah.
I wanted to give you the flowers, bro, because we reached out to Nick and we wanted to be able to support the creators within our community that resonate with our message, which is getting the word out there about mental health and making and creating a space where people can definitely thrive and understand that we're all going through the same things. It just looks different. So I want to just tell you thank you for your contribution to the show, and we're forever grateful for that.
It's absolutely my pleasure too. I appreciate y'all for even considering having the song as the theme. That means a lot to me. Absolutely.
So with that being said, do you guys remember the first time music evoked an emotion for you? And what was that feeling like that made you be like, oh, this snaps, or I never felt this feeling before. And please, this is a free flowing conversation. So, just feel free to jump in whenever you guys feel the moment.
Well, I mean, for me personally, the first time I can remember is hearing Gin and Juice on the clock radio when I was a young boy, and I was like, this is amazing, and I just was dancing in my parents' bed. It was awesome. That's the first just vivid memory that I had. And then, of course, like getting my first ever CD, my parents buying me my first ever CD, which I'm not ashamed to say was Lil Bow Wow's first CD. Might be showing my age here, but it's okay.
That's strong.
Look, all right, beware of the dog. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so those are the two times I can really like remember and recall.
So what kind of emotion that you said you were excited, but did it, one of the things that we want to kind of promote is kind of like being able to verbalize emotions, right? And
Right.
one thing that I'm not gonna say we, but some of us as Black men don't know how to, or weren't raised to properly express the feeling we had, right? You mentioned excitement, so that's definitely valid for your scenario, but like that excitement, what did it make you feel like? It was happy, just I don't know. Kiva, you might want to jump in and help with some of Nick. You want to help Ashley? I'm not great with the words.
No, I mean emotion, right? So it definitely and definitively evokes emotion. My mother tells a story of taking a trip to Madison Square Garden.
Sorry. She's from a kingdom of an amazing background, right? You can't just say my mother and
pay tribute to your mom.
So okay, so my mother is Sister Carol. She's a legendary, iconic figure in reggae music, world renowned and Grammy nominated, and she's an actress and has been in several films. I was bringing her into the conversation because she tells the story of being pregnant with me and going to Bob Marley's last concert at the Garden and feeling me move in her stomach as Bob was kind of like rocking the Garden. And she says she never forgets that. She never forgets how I responded to the music, even while I was inside. And so that always brings something up for me when I think about the music that I've been exposed to. See, I've been exposed to music from, before birth. And then growing up, being around all these legendary artists all the time. My living room being a space where Sister Nancy, Barrington Levy, everybody was there all the time in Flatbush at my house. And so it was kind of like our training ground. We would get on the mic and rock. And I remember the synergy in the community that was formed around that. And I think it's one of the few spaces where Black people get to be free. It's one of our few liberated spaces. It's one of our few unadulterated spaces where we just get to be us, and we get to do us, and we get to indulge in the beauty of our language, indulge in the beauty of the way in which we do things quite like no other, indulge in the way in which we show up in our allness, in our beauty, in our rage, in our power, in our revelry, like all of these things. And I think if used wisely, we can continue to use music to heal from a mental health perspective, like unlike any other tool.
Man, that's a powerful story. I don't have one. I don't think that hits quite that hard, right? But I don't know. It's a few moments when I think back of feeling like music, like like I'm being introduced to it for the first time, right? Because I'm not. I know that you know, talking about rocking folks to sleep. I know I couldn't sleep much as a baby. I would just be awake until my mom got MTV and she would just put me in front of it all night, right? And Prince and everybody playing me right to sleep. I know at 2 years old, or no, not two, but a little bit older than that, maybe like 3 or 4, Slam by Onyx apparently was my joint, right? And I'm running around singing Slam all the time, especially when I be in Kansas City with my family. But when I think about moments that like, man, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I gotta think there's like really 3 that stand out in my mind. The first, I don't know how old I am. Very young in my parents' room, jumping on their bed, listening to uh, Boys to Men, Cooley High Harmony, right? Like the way that they was really blending the hip hop with the doo wop. Like for me, especially growing up in the house that I grew up in, with all of the soul and the gospel and the jazz playing, like man, hearing this, I'm like, oh, what? This is crazy. With a nigga beatboxing in the background, like what? Like this is wild, right? And so losing my mind listening to this, it was joy and I would say like a wide-eyed wonderment that I felt, right? When I think about the next time that I really felt like I was kind of introduced to music in a way. I was listening to my sister sing for the first time in the church choir, right? Like she would sing around the house and stuff, you know, about like my dad sang, he played records all the time. And so, you know, we would be singing along to the music and stuff, but I can remember her first solo in the church choir and looking over at this person, you know, who was, how old is she? Maybe like 4, 5. And be like, man, what is like this was awe that I felt, right? Like I was blown away, you know what I mean, at the power in that young person's voice. And I mean, my sister still can, you know what I mean, sing circles around fools. So you know, I think about like the last time and it was more so that sense of community that Nakiba was talking about, right? Growing up in Texas, you know, our rap culture is a special one. You know what I mean? I think, you know, just like the way New York had its street corners and stoop battles and all of this stuff, right? Like we are a super big like freestyle culture. Like boys would get around and freestyle. Don't need no beat, no nothing. We just yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, actually, I know you know, right? And so like I can remember days being like from as early as 9, 10 years old, all the way through high school, like, but like it's starting 5th grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. Me and my friends really getting into rap, listening to, you know, all the Houston stuff, listening to 3-6, listening to, you know, UGK, Face, and like kind of trying to learn how to mimic, how to do this art before we can master it and make it our own, right? And so I think about that time, and then I think about a documentary I remember watching back in the day with Rough Riders, you know, doing a Rough Riders boot camp. And like, I swear to God, this is what we was putting ourselves through every day, like freestyling for hours every day, trying to outwrite each other on songs, trying to write the verses the fastest, trying to come up with the best hook. Like it was like a gladiator sport, right? But like it was building us up as artists, but also as people, and building our camaraderie as well, right? Like the respect that we had for each other back at that time, like was through the roof. Like, nobody think none of us could be out rapped by nobody. You know what I mean? And I don't know, being able to, like you say, build that not just community, but build that sense of self, that sense of confidence as a young Black man in an area where I don't really see a whole lot of like real tangible success for us. You know what I mean? Was important. It was life changing. You know.
So I did kind of interrupt you, Cassius. So my bad. If you want to finish on yours, because I actually have a follow up question for all of you.
I mean, I think that really just back on what I said, like so when me hearing like gin and juice for the first time, right? I can barely remember that. I just remember the music making me want to move and making me want to just get up and start moving around because I know this is what my parents do when they, um, but I can remember more so like just how I was feeling when I first got my first CD. I think that it was almost like it was a milestone for me because it signified my growth that I was allowed to start making more choices in what I consumed. You know, I think that's an important thing, especially growing up, because like I think a lot of us had parents where they would restrict the amount of content you could consume just off of what what the material may be, right? I know I wasn't able to listen to stuff that wasn't parental advisory, like buy stuff that wasn't parental advisory until I was like maybe 14 years old, something like that. You know what I'm saying? 14, 15. Um, so to me, not only does it kind of has like a correlation with like my growth as well. So the more I'm able to indulge, the more I'm able to listen to and kind of make those judgment calls for myself on what's acceptable to emulate and what's not acceptable to emulate. It just shows that I'm able to, just kind of keep up and do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Did you want to say something, Kiva?
No, I'm just saying it makes total sense. Absolutely.
So I want to ask you all, and Kiva, we know your story. You're part of this famous family. You know what I mean? But what really got y'all into creating? I've seen part of Nick's career in the process, but I would definitely love to hear how one, what got you into creating, and two, how that process helped you either heal or work through some issues that you guys were going through, if any.
I go. I can't say what got me into creating specifically. I can say what got me into rapping, and that was my homeboy Kiki. When we was in the third grade, I had got a CD, Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince classic or greatest hit CD, right? And it's a cut on there where this nigga Jazzy Jeff is going fucking crazy, bro, because he's the greatest DJ of all time, right? And so he's on here going nuts. And I'm listening to the way that this man is just manipulating these records, these scratches, doing these robots, all these tricks, right? And I'm just like, bro, this is like wow, the mastery. You know what I'm saying? I want to do this. Like I wanted to be a DJ. Like this is what I wanted to do because of Jazzy Jeff. And I'm talking to my homeboy Kiki, man. He's my friend since we was, I don't know, first grade, kindergarten, lived down the street from me. I remember actually that year we was getting in trouble or not because we first started cussing in third grade. So we was getting separated and all kind of stuff in our class. I remember talking to him about it and I was like, bro, I want to be a DJ. I want to do like this. And he was like, man, I don't know, fool. You should try to rap. And I was like, all right, I was 9. And then, so that's what started it, right? But like, damn, I done forgot the question. What was the question again?
How did creating or rapping kind of help you with whatever it is that you're going through? Because
right,
you
right,
sound
yeah,
because keep in mind, guys, Nick's been on here on multiple sessions, on multiple episodes, and he's been fighting the power since he was in third grade, reading autobiography of Malcolm X and refusing to salute to the flag. So, how did music kind of help with everything that you experienced in life growing up or creating?
I think that's what it was though. Outside of this rap, right? So outside of the boisterous shit, it was being able to write about that stuff, to be able to mostly reflect, man. Like when I think about it, I definitely think it was the space for me to sit back and ponder, what I was witnessing. I feel like, I grew up in in a mixed area, right? It was a good amount of white folks, black folks, Latinos, Asians. This was a melting pot part of our city, but the place that all my friends was coming from, having family roots in this city, I'm going out here with them. I'm driving through the neighborhood. I'm being outside. I'm at the games. I'm just on the block or whatever, right? And just seeing the world for what it is, right? But then I'm also catering these $1 million parties in the mansions and the Ritz as part of our neighborhoods. And I'm in classes with kids whose parents own businesses and stuff because I'm smart, and they didn't. Y'all know how education play out for us, right? And so, I'm able to break that glass ceiling and be in these advanced classes with these folks and really just get to hear and see and observe how they live in too, right? And so being able to understand our place in the world, but not really make sense of it. That was my area. That was my area to work these things out, to try to sort out what I was seeing, and to share that. You know what I mean? To express that, to expel that, at times, right? Because some of that shit I don't need to sit with me. I don't want to sit feeling lost or distraught, seeing the plight of mine, or sit there feeling upset, jealous, wrong, looking at the pleasure of everybody else's lives, right? Like that isn't what I want. And so being able to get that out in song, or whatever healthy form is important, right? So I mean, people might hear some of my more political stuff and think I'm what the white people on the internet be calling us now, Antifas. And I mean, I guess BLM is just bad, right? Like they just got a bad rap, right? And so I might be big all of this stuff if you just judging me based off of a record that you heard, right? But this is something that I needed to get out because these are feelings that I have, man. I'm entitled to this rage. I'm watching my brothers and sisters get killed in the streets every day. I can make expressive performance art, you know what I mean, without taking somebody's life, but I can't get pulled over without possibly getting my life taken, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, when you talking about help, it's helping me deal, like not just understand, but then deal with reality,
That's a powerful answer, brother. I grew up in a Pan-African home, you know what I'm saying? And so that's Peter Tosh and speeches by Marcus, and like that's the energy. I grew up in the heart of Brooklyn on the precipice of the explosion of hip hop coming out of reggae, right? Coming out of Kool Herc mixing in the Bronx. And so there was this intrigue around reggae music and even the dance hall, but it was also shunned because it was like that other stuff. And so coming up between both cultures gave me that multilingual ability to kind of flex in both realms, if you will. I touched the mic probably when I was 2. That's probably when I first started kind of like being on a set. When the adults weren't around, we would grab the mic and sing the songs, Ebony and Ivory, whatever Michael Jackson had out, like, and then I would like enter these little contests on the radio. My mother would be like, "Oh, call in," and I'd always win. And I was always a poet. I was always writing, but I was extremely shy. I just was like, nah, I'm good. Like my first time recording in the studio, I was 9. I told my father to stand by the door. I don't want nobody to see me sing. It was like, I don't know. It was really like, but give me like a pen and paper and it was over. Or get me in another situation. It was over. When I was 15, 16, I was approached to be in a girls group. That was kind of like a hip hop, R&B fusion. It was dope. It was fly, but I was getting ready to go to college. So I was like, yo, like, what y'all doing? Like, are we really doing this thing or not? Or like, what's really happening? And it didn't seem like it was going to pan out the way. I was kind of serious. I was serious about my music. I did a lot of the writing, a lot of the raps, a lot of the R&B hooks, everything. I kind of, was the cornerstone of the group. And so I said after that, when I do this again, I'm going to do it in a certain kind of way, in a serious way. And I'm going to deal with it from a solo perspective until I meet like-minded folks to really collaborate and connect. And then later on, after developing my artistry, finding my voice in all the realms, I ended up doing, collaborations with Fat Man Scoop and Capadonna and other people that saw my artistry in whatever realm and wanted to connect with me around that and be like, look, come sis, I want you to do this. I want you to rap on this. I want this hook to be that way. And being able to travel, doing writing projects internationally. So it's impacted me in a major way. Also, it's provided a way for me to be voyeuristic culturally. Like I was hearing Nick talk about those ciphers in Texas, and I was there. You know what I'm saying? Because it provides a way for us to tap into each other's culture, and the cultural nuances that is in a greater realm of Blackness. Like we're so not a monolith. We're so beautiful in all of our splendor. There's so much similarity, but there's so much unique difference. And then when we tap into like what it is like in a Miami or in a Houston or in Oakland or in all these like urban enclaves where people just want that space to speak out and to be liberated in their voice, it provided ways for me to tap into culture. And culture is the way, in the words of Zaretta Hammond, culture is the way that we read the world. That's how we read and view and experience the world. So it provided, if you will, the soundtrack for me, like a soundtrack for my evolution, soundtrack for my motivation, a soundtrack for my resilience, a soundtrack for me tapping into all that is my ancestry as an African woman. So it's everything.
All right, that was a deep answer because I know
Cassius, I don't think you got a chance to go yet.
I was gonna let him remind him he can go. Just
My bad.
speak on it, brother.
Hey, I mean, so with me, with just in terms of like my creating and how it's helped me realistically, making music was one of the first things that I've ever done where like I felt like I was good at it and it actually mattered. Because I was good at video games, I was good at math and I didn't really think that shit mattered because we have calculators. You know what I mean? So it's like doing music and making music was one of those things where this is the first time where I've ever felt like I needed to keep doing this because it's necessary. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? It helped me kind of shape my and in terms of just like dealing with the stuff that I've like gone through, it kind of just it made things easier, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I knew that if I didn't have anything else, I would have that, right? I would have the melody, I would have the song, I would have the lyrics, I would have all of that. When all else fails, I have that to at least comfort me or to go through whatever I need to. I also say that in terms of just like kind of like taking that art and incorporating everything that I've experienced. And Nick will tell you, like, I used to kind of shy away from it. I used to kind of be, I was like I want to make some hits. I want to make a good song, that's fine. But like, it wasn't until recently that I really started tapping into my emotionality and like, why do I feel the way that I feel? Even if this don't make sense, I could put this in a song because sometimes life just don't make sense. Um, I mean, yeah, it's a really complicated answer, and it's one that I don't think that I can answer with full certainty because I'm still experiencing things. I'm still trying to figure out how to further like kind of mesh those two worlds together, my creations and my emotionality. Um, it's an ongoing story to say the least.
And can I just say this period watching Castile create, you know what I'm saying, from years of featuring him on my records and him producing on my records and folks asking about, yo, what's up with Castile? When his joint gonna drop? When you gonna let him this? When you gonna let him that? And I'm like, nigga, I don't let nobody nothing. That man is grown, and when he's ready, right, he will. But like the conversations we used to have about the music he was making versus the person that he is, right? I think I wish I would have had him with him from the perspective of like, bro, I see that you are hurting, right now, and I think you probably could get this out both in a healthier way, but in an amazing way as far as like how it will come out musically, how it's going to resonate with people, XYZ, right? And fast forward 5, 6, 7 years, and here we are. And I mean, the records that he has right now are not just amazing, like top tier, and like they heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? They heartfelt, and like he's talking about being comforted by music, right? And so, Nakeeb, I know you definitely will be able to feel it too, right? But like, I think about some of the times when I'm sad or when I'm hurt or when I'm angry, and I think about some of these records like that, like there's a Donny Hathaway record that I love, you know what I mean? And so when I'm down, I might just be outside or in my room or wherever, but like, especially if I'm alone, man, I will belt that shit, because I can feel the anguish that I'm trying to push out, pushing through my voice, right? Pushing through my vocal cords, pushing from way down here in my diaphragm on up, right? But then I can also feel the warmth and the joy of this music resonating and of these chords that I'm pushing through, like rolling through me, right? And so they bring me peace, you know what I mean? Even in times of, tribulation, trial and shit, right? And it don't mean that shit is over, that is ended, but like I can feel such comfort, right? When I used to be in school and in workplaces, right, man, you could just be walking through the hallways and through places singing, and people would ask me why, and I had no fucking idea why, but I was just at peace, right? And I was so peaceful that I was happy, and so happy that I was vulnerable, and so vulnerable that I was open, and so open that I'm singing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I got a song on my heart, and I'm that good right now. I feel this all right now that I'm letting that shit out. You know what I mean? And so like I just wanted to really acknowledge what he said, but B, prop Cash up because of where he's at right now and what the things that he's doing makes me feel, man. I've been walking around this house singing records that he's working on because they feel good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I mean, we talking about this music power, what it can do. Like, I mean, when it's coming from a true place, like it can do a lot, man. It can do a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Real spiritual too.
Exactly.
It's a real spiritual thing. When you think about like the Haitian Revolution and you think about the synergy that it took to create the supernatural energy. Like you have to be beyond your circumstance to see freedom, to see liberation, to see certain things. You know they were chanting. You think about the old Negro spirituals, you know that, you know, the wade in the waters, the making sure that you had a melody for your soul to make it through. I think about playing ball in college. I used to listen to Foxy Brown's Rock the Bells, not LL's Foxy Brown's. And I used to Fox Boogie Brown is bad as hell. Like, I used to get hyped with my friends. And I remember at that time, Foxy being my favorite rapper, being from Brooklyn, being dark skinned, mahogany, mommy, all those things that came up. And I was going to school in Boston at the time. So it took me back home. It took me back to the courts at home. So I knew I was about to do my thing on the court when I played. So I think, you know, there's a battle cry. Even with I think Toby's new song, Fire Fire, where they kind of like, coming through with the vibe, with the rage, with the power, with the prowess, with the love. Like, that's us. That's how we do. I think I saw somebody call it a Negro haka or something like that. Just that same kind of like warrior spirit. Like, let's go, you know? I just think we dope as hell, and we fly, and we find ways to bend it and twist it and flip it and make it great. You know what I'm saying? Folks might call it ghetto, but it's genius. It's ingenuity. It's how we survive. And music has always provided the foundation framework for us to be able to follow through with that.
Hold on, man. Negro Hacker. I love that. And I mean, you know, so one of the homies is Samoan, man. Shout out to the homie, the Big Oos, man. You know what I mean?
Oos, man.
You know what I'm saying? Me and Oos put out a project in 2019 under the title The Slab, or the group name The Slab, right? And I mean, in my time knowing them, you know, this is G'd up ass Samoan, you know, crippin' ass, like jazz, funk, hip hop, soul, but also indigenous music loving ass, you know, self-educated ass, you know, play ass motherfucker, right? And we talk a lot, right? But we talk a lot about a lot of political things. We talk a lot about he's been teaching me a lot about the land and about you know, what's going on in Hawaii, you know, especially with, you know, all these rich folks trying to take over these sacred parts of their islands and stuff, right? But like, I think the thing that we probably connected on the deepest is the fact, like, bro, we is all indigenous peoples, you know what I mean? Right. And so when you talk about a Negro haka, I mean, dog, you those of us who come, you know, a son people, right? Like this is something that we all got, honest and true, right? Like that's something that we all can relate to. I mean, yeah, dog, you talking about music being spiritual. Even if you into Western religion, that's something that you believe and take in, right? Like this is it resounds like that, man. Like the power of it is it's vast and wide reaching, you know. Man, I don't know, man. I really fucked with that. The Negro hacker. I need
It is. I mean, what is the African hacker? You know what I'm saying? It's us. It's like it's a tribal, a warrior call. Like, let's go. Me and my queen. What's good? Like, we gonna get it. You know, like And I think that we need to lean into that. We need to make sure that we rep that. We rep that this is our battle cry too. How we come in with the music is our battle cry.
By the way, I wanted to say, I apologize if like it seems like I'm got a lot going on. I work at a studio, so I'm just like I kind of keep one ear open at all times. You know what I'm saying? Making sure everything runs smooth.
You in the mix, brother. You in the mix.
You good?
You are doing the act. Awesome.
That's
fire.
All right. So I kind of want to bring us to our next topic. So all of y'all have like these deep stories of like music and how it connects to your feelings, your experiences, how you got into your art. So considering all the work that goes into pushing your music out so that others can appreciate it, and then you see like the industry is flooded with artists that don't work as hard as you do or don't have as good of a message as you do. How does this affect your mental health?
How does this affect your ability to? What was the last part of the question,
Oh, I'm
sis?
sorry. How does seeing that affect your mental health?
Mental health. Yeah. Okay.
It was hard on mine for a minute, you know. This is something that I've recently come out of, you know, over the last few years, you know what I mean? But like it is amazing to be in front of some of the most powerful gatekeepers to the music industry, right? And for them to be exposed to your art, tell you how great it is, and then remind you of your social media following and how not great it is. And that's the game, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, bro, you know, work on that social media strategy and get back with us. I'm like, man, you know, if I wanted to do all of the, you know what I'm saying, pieces of the thing, what do I need you for, right? If I can make it push like that, right? What parts are y'all bringing to the table? It ain't no artist development no more. It ain't no, you know what I mean? Like what do you what value do y'all bring to me at that point? At what point? You know what I'm saying? Like, um, it I don't know. It showed me just how much I feel like, you know, folks might be being able to be used so very easily, right? But also, you know, just how shallow some of this can be, right? And it bring me back around to realizing, like, dog, I make and create music because I love it. I do this for myself, because it feel good. Um, I do it for some of the homies because they fuck with it, right? But like, I don't have to kill myself or not be myself, for somebody else's benefit, so I can do this the way that somebody else wants me to do it, or maybe not do this the way somebody does not want me to do it. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, it was mind blowing. Like, I don't even want to talk about some of the offices that I've been in and some of the responses I've got to my music, right? Versus the conversation that we had after, you know, or some of the artists that were then discussed and signed, and the way some of that panned out for some of them artists, man. I feel for them. You know what I mean? I feel for them artists too, right? Because now you into this big contract that you probably wasn't built for, you know what I mean? And you trying to get out the red on some shit that you never really had a chance on, but because you had enough social media followers, somebody was able to rope you into doing something that you really couldn't do. You know what I mean? It's all kind of I don't know, it's all different kind of ways to kind of look at this on the other end and rationalize it, I guess, right? But I don't think it stops the motion, you know. Like, if you create, if you do that, if you feel like you've been called to do that, then you just got to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's a light that'll shine for you, you know. You stand in that light. You sing to them folks who want to hear you. You know what I'm saying? And bask in that love, because that's all it should have been, right? If you love music, love that, spread that love, right? And get that love back. You know what I mean? However much of it is, right? Because the other thing about the game is that it's fickle. You know what I'm saying? They'll love you today, and forget about you tomorrow, right? How many folks then came and gone, you know? So it can't even be about that, right? Like it can't.
You're on mute.
From you.
Talking mad hard, and I was definitely muted. Saying that I think it shouldn't be like that, but it is for some people. You know what I'm saying, Nick? Like it shouldn't be about that, but it is. For me personally, it's been opportunity. You know, it's been an opportunity to bounce while physically being present, bounce while spiritually being present. I make the music I want to make. I project the image I want to project. I'm not bound by anything to do or create in a certain way. I've had an excessive amount of exposure to how the industry works and runs since I was a little person, and it was never anything that was enticing to me. It was like, I understand what this is. I know how integral I am and what I'm about. It's really about a matter of being secure and producing what it is that you love to produce instead of what you think people will love, and not basing your own personal value worth on external validation, because that's what's killing folks. Or your likes ain't up, or your numbers ain't up, or your followers ain't up, and but the music is good. But you know, and then there's these people whose music might not be as good, or you might not think it is as good. Somebody else somewhere does, or some machine somewhere does. You have to move through your process as a creative. When I was a classroom teacher, I knew when my lesson was the bomb, when my kids were feeling it, and I knew when it fell flat. So when I started to rock crowds of thousands of people, it was like, oh, this is light work compared to a classroom of young people that ain't feeling something. Like that to me was my barometer. If they felt me, if they were able to teach me something, if I was able to gain their respect and their reverence, then everything else is light. And I think, you know, I'm also thinking about the young people that I interact with every day, and how there's a depth of spiritual connection. It can impact your mental health in a detrimental way if you don't have a real centered sense of self and a real centered sense of what it is that you want to do and be as a musician, as an artist, as a creative, and how it is you want to evolve in the realm of artistry. And if you are always thinking about how external eyes are judging or comparing or juxtaposing what it is that you do, you're always going to be enslaved by that perspective. You're always going to be a slave to how others perceive you, instead of just being and doing and producing and fucking up and getting it right and fucking up and getting it right and getting it really right and winning and losing and all of the things that come with being human. And that's life. And I think so many of us are consumed with what people are saying externally as opposed to what's happening inside of us. And that creates a real sense of conflict.
I could definitely agree with that. And like, as somebody who, this is probably my biggest problem when it comes to my music personally, is like the actual promotion part and kind of like marketing it and all that stuff. Because personally, I don't care. Like, I care, of course. I want people to hear it. I want people to enjoy my music. But damn, do I gotta do it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like I already don't post a lot on social media. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get on Twitter for the jokes. You know, like I'm not really, you know, don't be trying to be that savvy. But at the same time, you do understand that this is something important. This is like with anything that you gonna be parts of it that you enjoy, that you don't understand, but you understand that it's necessary. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta eat. It's not a lot of people that like cooking. It's like it's all the stuff go hand in hand. You know what I mean? In terms of how it affects my mental health, though, it before it definitely like it played a bit of part just on like kind of me down to myself, like, man, this like I ain't getting the numbers that I need to. Ain't nobody really like giving me that engagement that I need. Da, 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 da. But it's like I've reached a point where the music is gonna speak for itself, and whoever it's meant for, it will reach, right?
Mhm.
At least in this moment. When I get a bigger audience and things do get to where more people are exposed to my sound, then that'll be great, and I'm gonna be able to. I'm gonna have some more messages for some more people, for whoever's listening. But the moment that I'm making at this moment, at this time, it's gonna reach who it's meant for. You know, that's how powerful what we do is. It reaches everybody it needs at the right time.
Mhm.
Um, it's and also I'll say that like promotion and stuff and like kind of like doing all the extra stuff is like it's ways to kind of, I guess it is ways to kind of get creative about it, to where you can kind of trick yourself into like making that happen for yourself. You know, like I kind of just like, all right, I'm gonna post something that I produced every day, like once a day. You know what I mean? Like just on my story, little things like that. It's almost like a scheduling thing. You know what I mean? Where it kind of takes that extra, like, oh, this is just some extra stuff that I gotta do. Nah, it's just a part of my routine now. Um,
So, can I ask a quick question just to follow up on that for all of you, right? Um, as creatives, sometimes you guys don't may not feel like it's necessary for you to necessarily brag about your work, right? Like, yo, the joint is fire. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't.
right.
Do you guys find it that the most difficult part of getting the support are from people that are in your so-called circles, especially your close circles? And how does that have an impact on you?
Uh, so kind of, but not really. Just because like I feel like before I really started, like before like getting to LA, right, and then being around my peers that I actually make music with, I was around a lot of my friends, and, just back in the city. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and like I went to an art school, so like everybody knows what we do and all that stuff. But even then, it wasn't really just like it wasn't really. I felt like I didn't really not only did I not have to push, yeah, not only did I not have to push, but like it wasn't really nobody really checking for when I was dropping and when I was trying to do whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't really take that to heart because I felt like in the end of the day, maybe y'all just don't understand what I'm trying to accomplish. And I'm not making music for just my friends. I'm making music for everybody. So to even put that, and to a point like, yeah, listen to your friends' music. Don't listen to your friends' music. Like if but I'm not gonna hate you if you don't. Um, different strokes for different folks. It's like I don't. It's a lot of stuff I probably should listen to that I haven't. But I hope they're not mad at me. It's not malicious, you know.
No, that's facts though. Like you can't take that as a slight. You know what I mean? Like I, I got, I wouldn't have uh, enough friends probably, or as many friends if I based it on how many of y'all listen to my music, watch my video or whatever, and actually get a lot of love from people who I consider friends, man, and from friends of theirs too, right? Like I appreciate the community that I was able to build around my music, you know what I mean? But like it ain't no love lost if you don't, or if what I make ain't for you. Like Castile said, it is a lot of stuff that I feel like I probably should have listened to just because I knew somebody or whatever. You know what I mean? But like if it don't vibrate my way, it just don't. And you know what I mean, I can't fault nobody else for feeling the same about me. Like everything might not be for everybody, you know what I mean? I like a whole lot of music, but I don't like all of that shit, you know what I'm saying? So like I get that, you know what I mean? I think you get that but again, I mean, your friends, yeah, they hopefully they your friends because they your friends. You know what I mean, and if it's not based around what you do at all, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how genuine is that? You know what I'm saying?
I think it's a difference between friends and body of believers. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got your friends and then you have your body of believers. And sometimes, in the rarest and most beautiful cases, they overlap, but not necessarily. And I think, as an artist, you have a spiritual relationship with your music, you have an artistic relationship with your music, and you have sometimes a business relationship with your music if you take it on that level. Um, and those things aren't for everybody. Those realms and how you interact in those realms and who you become in those realms. Sometimes you want to savor the purity of a friendship, and so you want to keep somebody away from that. I think luckily for me, a lot of my friends like my music and are intimate, if not semi-distant members of my body of believers. Like, and not because they want to be far away from me, but just because of how time and space shapes up. But my creative process, when I'm in the studio, I don't like a lot of people around. I don't like a lot of energy around. It's a real intimate. A lot of voices around. A lot of people saying, "Yeah, take out that, put in this." Like, I don't really like that type of energy. I just kind of, sometimes I just sit in the corner. I'll be on the floor, sitting in the corner, find a good space for my ears to capture the vibe and the energy of what's happening in the space. I think if you're lucky, there's an overlap. And like Nick said, I would hope that you love me, and like me because we're friends, and not because of what I do or who I know or how fly flow or how the hook that I just wrote is going blow up the charts or whatever the fad may be. But it can cost relationships too. I've seen it happen. I've seen people blow up and that dynamic be hard on a friendship. I've seen people semi blow up and people can't take it. And so I would just urge people to see each other's heart. Acknowledge that impact outweighs intent often. And so the impact of a hurt or a harm can outweigh the intention, and just be clear about your intention and make sure that people know that you want them to be around and you want them to be a part of it. But hopefully you can negotiate those two spaces, the friends and the body of believers, with some success,
Okay. That makes good. I'm gonna use that for the rest of my life. The friends and the body of believers. I'm gonna put people in categories. Like, you a believer, friend. So y'all, we've talked about how music has affected you mentally and where you are when you're creating. So to lighten the load up a little, lighten the mood a little bit, I want to ask, so if you were to create a soundtrack of your life right now, what would be included? What type of music? What would the songs be? You get freedom to share whatever part, the songs, genre, the sound.
As long as it's not country music, we
Hey,
good.
country good though.
What's wrong with black country music, Cassius?
Yeah, don't sleep on country music now.
I'm okay.
You know what it is, Cassius? Country music, white people get to tell stories and they get to be diverse when they create. You feel me? Country music is black music. You know what I'm saying?
That's fine.
But we have to have a segmented narrative. Like, we don't get to be our all. We don't get to tell these beautiful love stories. Some of those songs are so well written, but if they came out of a black mouth, they would hit double brick. You know what I'm saying? And so I'd like to reclaim that as ours. You know what I'm saying?
But even then, like, I've listened to black country singers, and it still just do not slap for me. Like, I want to give it. I trust me. I tried my hardest to give this the chance that it deserves. It's just like that, and like heavy metal, like deathcore metal, like those are like the two no-nos for me. And then like and then like yodeling. But like, who likes yodeling?
Yeah, it's not true. I feel it. I just want it for us.
So,
I
to
want
the point. So to the point, right? What would be? Let's say it doesn't have to be a full album. So let's say right now, where you are today, what would be the top 5 songs on your playlist, on your soundtrack, and why, if you don't mind?
like today.
Just any song.
Today, where you are mentally, emotionally, musically, and then just where you are in life today. What 5 songs would you say kind of resonate with where you are right now?
Well, I say number 1 is "Fuck the Police" by Jay Dilla. That's number 1, but that's another story. That's tough, man. Man,
And, and
like
keep in
right
mind,
now though.
yeah, and keep in mind we're talking about how we're feeling, right? Where we are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and I mean that's a perfect example considering where we are as a country and as a people.
Very true, and also it's very personal for me as well. But I mean, yeah, that's anybody else want to chime in? I had to think about that one.
I can chime a little bit. So I just looked at my phone to see what I'm listening to right now, like what I got on repeat. I got Chronix, Skank Feet. It's like a reggae kind of nice throwback, throw forward kind of vibe. I mean, really, really, really dope. I got Damage by her for my R&B flow. It's real nice, smooth it out. I got Triumph from the Woo. Just because I like that. That I just remember that coming on and shifting the whole landscape of everything. I got The Passion by Lauryn Hill. I used to play that in the mornings to kind of level set my morning and just come in with the bingy drum and just be one, breathe, light my incense, drink my tea, kind of just smooth it out. And I got On It by Ari Lennox and my girl Jasmine Sullivan, because that's my shit right now too.
Fellas, y'all need some more time?
I'm going through the playlist now, man. Like, yeah, what am I? Because I ain't gonna lie, really,
That's 5
lately,
random right now.
like I've been just listening to like art stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like me and Nick got so much dope in the cut. Like it's just,
Yeah.
I be listening to art stuff, right? It's been one of them kind of modes lately, just lately though. But in terms of just any other song, definitely that number 1, "Fuck the Police" by Jay Dilla. I say another one that's kind of been like I've been really feeling lately. This song called "Sandcastles" by Benny the Butcher. That's just been like just like kind of the mood I've been in. "Mainstream" by Outkast for sure. Since just coming down to Atlanta, that's already one of my favorite Outkast songs ever, and that's I've been kind of having that song on repeat since coming down here. It kind of just keep me, it keeps me in the loop. It keeps me focused. Yeah, them last two though. Them last two. Nick, you ain't got none yet. You got you already compiling your list.
I'll say for me, right now my soundtrack is kind of international, right? I got little Afro beats in there. I got a little, Haitian compa in there. I got some old school reggae in there. I'm feeling the vibe of like home. You know what I mean? Peace.
Right.
The songs that bring me peace from like, living in the Northeast. It creates a lot of angst. It creates a lot of like the energy of having the hustle and bustle and dog eat dog. Sometimes I want to escape. So a lot of the times, music that I play are international. Takes me somewhere else. Allows me to like escape for a moment. You know what I mean? And it's pretty tranquil. I mean, you throw on an Afro beat, I just start bopping and forget where I'm at. You know what I mean? What about you, Ashley? What you got in there? You got some chopped and screw, some new music?
It's so much. It's so much. Okay, so the playlist gonna start off with "Yeah" by Burna Boy.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go. Okay, so don't judge me because it's gonna be everywhere. I'm gonna go to Jill Scott. My playlist is more than 5 songs because I'm gonna play her whole.
Yes.
Man, I forgot the album, the one with Crown Royal. Play the whole album, and then tiptoe over to what's the dude? Chris Stapleton. Sometimes I cry. And then how many songs? I done already gave y'all a whole cleanup playlist. I guess we're gonna wrap it up with some church.
That Sunday cleanup playlist is real. Yeah, look, it's a vibe. You clean into some music, you just forget what you're doing all day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then it's gonna end with my favorite song. I'm gonna play it like 15 times until I go to sleep. Still Ray by Raphael Sadiq.
Yeah. All right. I like this one coming in. Still Ray, Nothing Even Matters.
Okay, y'all ready?
Oh, let's get some more in the comments of y'all playlist. Top five.
Yeah, y'all comment below and I'll put it on the screen.
So I put mine together.
Put it together.
So in no particular order, I'm gonna give you 5 songs, and also I threw in a mixtape because I didn't know we could throw in albums and shit. Like this is okay. So Protect and Serve by UGK from the Super Tight album. Sticky Green by Devin the Dude. I Want You, Marvin Gaye. Misty, Donny Hathaway. Say It Loud, James Brown. And then for my whole, I needed a little bit of screw, but I also needed some 90s R&B. So this is a deep cut. Most of y'all probably never even heard of this. It's the Color Changing Click, Deuce Bigelow mixtape. I think this is Paul Wall's first attempt at doing a whole mixtape, hosted by Chamillionaire and a whole bunch of the rest of them, and nothing but a bunch of chopped and screw records from like the 90s, a little bit of late 80s, I think, and some early 2000s. Man, that month. Masterful.
So Nick, I just want to say this. I Want You is like top of my list, right here on my joint. Like
that's the
straight
joint.
up, my spirit heavy. It was on my list and I forgot to say it. So
like I'd throw that whole album in there, man. I would throw the whole album. That's my favorite Marvin Gaye album. I know people got, their opinions about which one is the best, but for me personally, my favorite, man, I Want You. He's just sonically it's such a, you talking about a vibe, shit, man.
Yeah, and Resonance. It comes up in so many soundtracks, so many timepiece periods. Right. I gotta throw some Black Roots in there too, like my group, Black Roots is in there heavy. Some Sister Carol, some of my mom's stuff. We got a song called No Manners. That's out right now. That's fire. And I just like the way it makes me feel when I listen to it. So shout out to my group. Shout out to Mike Black, my partner in crime on that. No Manners right now is running it.
Oh yeah, we definitely playing all our own shit in there too, man. Yeah. I was trying to, put something out there that everybody could understand. You know what I mean? Also, my you know what I mean? But shit, I'm playing every album I ever dropped.
Yeah. Oh,
and all the shit I ain't dropped yet. You know what I'm saying?
for real. Oh, also a big shout out to, I gotta say one, because I've been actually listening to this album like since I got here too. The Seeing Sounds, that nerd. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very important to the sound. You know what I'm saying? It's just like
Yeah.
that's one of the first albums I ever heard where it's just like, yo, man, they really just doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know, and that was so cool to me.
Yeah. It sonically feels like a palette. Like they just
Yeah,
painting on a palette, whatever colors they
yeah.
want, however they doing whatever they want
You
to do.
know, if they want to do soul, they can. If they want to do rock, they can. If they want to do rap, they can. They did all of
Yeah.
that shit just on one album and
Mhm.
killed it. If they
Yeah,
want to do jazz, they can. Like it's beautiful.
I'll be waiting for like a good break before I jump in talking and changing the subject. So okay, so we all have like a bunch of different things that we do listen to, and then for some of us, there's a bunch of things that we don't listen to. Do y'all associate different emotions with different genres? And also, how does that come through in your music? Like, do you reach for that sound when you're trying to reach for it, when you're trying to put out a certain emotion?
Um, sometimes it can, but not always. You know what I mean? So like, I listen to rock right when I'm just on my super emo vibes. But even then, like it's some real happy, like yo, like I'm jamming out rock. You know what I'm saying? That, like
Mhm.
ain't got nothing to do with me being sad. It's just like it's just jamming. I think the same goes for everything. Like if I'm in like a if I'm in a real like emotional mood, but I still want to listen to some rap, I'm gonna throw on like some DMX or you know what I'm saying, something of that nature. If
Mhm.
or you know or who's a sad singing nigga. What's my boy name? I love where I want to be. Donnell, you know, yeah, Donnell Jones. Yeah, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, I think to answer that question, you gotta take more of a deductive approach. Like what can't I listen to in certain situations, right? Because there are so many situations where I could listen to so many different types of genres of music or need to create or get out what I'm feeling through so many different types of genres or whatever. But there are some things maybe that I can't, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna get after, after being black in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and the 2020s, you know what I mean? There's certain pieces of rage I ain't finna get out in no soul music, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I love that shit, but like it ain't finna hit me the way maybe Zero is finna hit me, you know what I'm saying, or something like that. So it's uh like what am I not finna be listening to right now, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's, oh man, I ain't finna listen to this right now, right? Like this ain't finna keep me where I'm at or put me where I need to be, right?
Yeah,
Um,
like. Mm-hmm.
oh
Mhm.
no, go ahead, bro. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just gonna say like yeah, like if I'm sad, I'm not listening to the cha cha slide. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just certain shit you just gotta know. You got it.
I, I like when you said a sad singing nigga. I was great. I love that.
Yeah. I was just trying. Yeah, you know, it's a
Nah,
couple of
I love
them.
it. Nah, I love it.
Thank you.
I think for me, there was a period of time where I didn't listen to anything or write. I was so deep into a mental space. And it saddened me because I couldn't find words or songs or lyrics to express what I was dealing with or how I was healing with what I was healing. But when I came out of that, it was straight fire. Straight fire. I was gravitating towards me and I was producing straight fire because, my mom always says you have to live to write. And sometimes when you're processing what you're living and going through, and we have the ultimate gift of being translators. of being the vehicles through which other people experience their own emotions, even sometimes for the first time through words. Because it's like, dang, I didn't know how to express what I was feeling, but she said it, or Nick said it, Cassius said it. Like, they got me. They get me. They get me, and they tapping into what I'm dealing with emotionally. And so for me, there are certain things that I listen to at certain times. But there's a certain vibe and energy. Like when I'm in a cooking mood, I'm definitely on my Afrobeat vibe. I'm definitely throwing on that playlist when I want to dance, when I want to create a certain kind of energy. I know as a young woman, honestly, there were certain kinds of hip hop that I couldn't listen to because I felt like it wasn't speaking to me. I didn't feel like empowered by it. I felt like, and I see it happening now as we're listening to all these verses and all this energy around it, and people are thinking and looking at the music through a different lens, through a more mature lens. But so much of the music went to, Black women's detriment and kind of like downplaying us, and I couldn't really rock with that for a while. And it gave me a feeling of being lost. Because it's like, if this is for me and this is my generation and this is my culture, how come it doesn't speak to my beauty and my reverence and my greatness? And every video, these women don't look like me. And every, song is a this and a that. And there's space for that. But it was so much of that. As a young woman growing up, there was such dissonance for me. I couldn't negotiate my reality versus what I heard and what I was drawn, what my generation was drawn to. It felt like a real conflict. And I know there's sisters that write about this and think about this and talk about this as lovers of hip hop, but feeling like it's an abusive relationship sometimes. And that's not to downgrade. I'm a hip hop artist myself. I love hip hop, but I feel like that diversity of expression wasn't encouraged also by the gatekeepers. And so it's like, these are the songs that we're gonna let come through this space. And so that's kind of one of the time periods where I kind of shut my radio off from certain things.
Oh yeah, man, the radio though. I mean, like, I don't know. The radio was important for me growing up, but like now I see I'm so glad that we have such options, so much access to being able to get into and get out of certain spaces, because listening to a lot of these verses recently, man, some of that shit we was listening to, dog, like, that's not cool, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But then also thinking about the fact that I was listening to that shit at 12, 13, 14, you know what I mean? And what kind of reality that helps set in, helps normalize, right? Like, I don't know. Everybody ain't grown like that. But when you start getting that at a young age, you can grow into that easier for sure. I can as an adult appreciate where and which or what rap and hip hop was trying to be monitored. For me, this shit didn't work, but I can appreciate it now, the attempts, you know what I'm saying? Like, because hell, I probably shouldn't have been listening to some of that shit at the age that I was listening to some of that shit at, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I mean, I think about the way we get access to information, you know what I mean? The way we seek out and understand the world. Like, I'm not trying to ever blame rap or hip hop for the reality that we have, or for the way our children are raised, or anything like that, right? Like, we not been in control largely of our existence, you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, and we can argue that whichever ways we want to, but that's real. And so,
argument, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like, I think about that and think about now, you know what I mean? If I was to keep if I had a kid and I was to keep my kid from listening to rap music, but they had access to Google and everything else, right? Like they can still, get to whatever, these same conclusions that maybe somebody who is just straight listening to Juvenile all fucking day, every day, might have gotten to as well, right? About the world. No knock to Juvie. I love 400 Degrees, but like, you understand what I'm getting at, man. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I mean, I think everything well, not everything, because some things you don't need to be taken in at all, right? Like some of this shit just shouldn't have existed, right? The way that we degrade our women, some of this shit just shouldn't be. This reality shouldn't be. But I think trying to take things in smaller doses. I mean, managing and what we digest, like that's something that we got to take up on our own selves, right? Like we got control over that. We got as much control as we can try to have over our kids when they with us to manage what they bringing in and the lessons that they learn, and you know what I'm saying. So steering ourselves away from some of this more misogynistic shit, some of this more homophobic shit that lives and thrives through our culture, man. It's a possibility, but it's gonna take everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely gonna take more of us, and that's for sure. So I don't know. I appreciate the niggas that I be with, because won't really fuck with that shit.
I feel you though. Like I feel like it's not our choice, right? It's not our choosing to always do that, to put out that type of imagery, that type of message, and we just have to take our choice back. We just have to take our choice back.
Right. I mean, we're in such a better place to do that too, though. I think about the time, like especially for music, right? The business of it, like streaming kind of sucks, but also streaming does give the opportunity to take your control over what you're putting out and how you putting it out back, right? Like this shit reminds me more of like jazz, back like in the 20s and the 30s and shit, when niggas was just pressing up a record and getting out in the street and pushing a record, but you got the whole internet and you can press up as many records as you want to, right? From the comfort of your home, you know what I'm saying? You can put that shit out on your own, you can put that shit out consistently, and like we was complaining about earlier, if you want to do all of the work to build your shit up, right? Like you can do this your own way, man. People who's gonna resonate with music that is genuine, whatever it sounds like. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I can't believe that this many. Well, I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. Let me not say that. But yeah, man, you know what I mean? Like I think as far as like you say, taking back our choice, taking back our control, man. Like I think we got the access to that right now more than ever, and you know what I mean, as much more work as it may seem, like it's so exciting to me about what this might be for the future, man. These big record labels are falling, bruh. They're falling. They don't got it no more. Fuck them. Tear the whole shit down. Like own your own shit. Own all your masters. Control all your music. Make the music that reflects who you are, that's real to you, dog, man. Fuck them. Like, I love it, like, I don't know.
That's a great segue. Because, so my next question, is, so all of y'all are conscious. I've been listening to I've been listening to y'all since I've heard of y'all within this last year, but especially putting the graphics and the media together for this episode, I was listening through y'all songs like, okay, what speaks to this picture? What speaks to this picture? So y'all are conscious, and fortunately, like Nick said, y'all are getting more control over like creating and distributing your own stuff. How do we promote or encourage people to use music for its therapeutic properties, like the conscious music that's out there? How do you think we can we can promote them to further. Dang, I just fucked that question up. I'm sorry. So, how do we promote or encourage people to use music for its therapeutic properties?
That's what you said.
I got distracted and I started
reading. You did not mess it up. You did that. That's what you did.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, that's what you did. That's what I heard. I think we live with it. Like, we live with it. Like, we really make it a soundtrack for life. Like, a lot of, everyone has pretty much their own TV show in their pocket or in the palm of their hand. And we are creative. Everybody's on this content. And so when you do life and you put music to it, you bring it into a different space and you bring people into it. We're about to see a real major shift with this outside movement that's happening right now, and people performing live and moving and grooving with music. And, we saw like a lot of interesting things, like the Bad Bunny thing with the rolling through on the subway car. Like, people were trying to make a spectacle to bring you into the music, because unfortunately and fortunately, it's not just about the music anymore. It's about the energy around it. It's about the visuals around it. It's about the presentation. It's about all of those things. And I think in order to encourage people to use it for therapeutic properties, you can attach imagery, whether it be like imagery that encourages meditation or internal processing or thinking deeply about stuff, to the soundtrack that is your music, and allow for people to really dig into the emotions and feelings that they feel when they hear certain music, when certain things are captured, what they want and seek to hear when they're feeling certain things. And they could journal about that. They can make videos about that. They can document that. They can take pictures. There's different ways and different art forms that you can use to capture how it is that you're using this medium of music for therapy. And I would say be creative. Like, I journal, I write. I sometimes listen to a song and then write and try to capture how I'm feeling about it, what I'm thinking about it. I'll get a hook and then I'll put it down sometimes for 2 years, and then I'll come back and it'll be like a fire song, and it'll start like a whole movement around a new project. Because that's my therapy. That's my escape. My go-to has always been my pen. I want to encourage folks to lean into that, lean into rest, lean into relaxation, lean into and away from grind culture that doesn't encourage you to take care of yourself and take a certain amount of self-care, and find the music that supports that and not just encourages you to go, 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 go. Used to watch something where Dame Dash said, "I'll sleep when I'm dead." But we aren't resting. And a lot of people, our peers in our age range, are dying of stress, trying to keep up with things that don't allow for them to just be and rest. So I would say, definitely I encourage folks to work hard, but just think deeply about your self-care, and toxicity in terms of energy and vibes and people that you might want to eliminate, and bring that therapeutic music in and tap into that to really free yourself and liberate yourself.
Also, if I could chime in, I think that the beautiful thing about music is that no matter what kind of music it is, it could serve its own therapy to whomever it may need it, right? So, where one person may receive their therapy from the music of Sade, another might receive their therapy from the music of Lil Jon in their car ride home back off. They just getting off of work, right? I think that it's important to kind of let people know that therapy doesn't really have a face. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a shape, really. Therapy is whatever brings you peace. I think a lot of the times we kind of look for certain things. We look for certain things to have certain qualities or certain kind of qualifications, if that makes sense, in order for us to redeem it as therapeutic. When I think that giving more fluidity to that space is what can in turn grant better therapeutic hold on, I'm getting my words mixed up, but it can grant a better just therapeutic process for whoever the listener may be. Kind of taking those boundaries off and removing the like what it's supposed to be, and just letting it be what it is. Um, that's what just what it's had to be. But but yeah, so that was my 2 cents.
So I'm kind of in alignment with that, man. Yeah, I think people already maybe subconsciously, but already use music therapeutically, right? Like you play your mood, you know, yeah, you play how you feel. Um, and I mean, I think for me, I think one of the simplest ways to encourage people to like really be intentional about it is to, if you can, if you're in a space where you can, right, like sing out loud or dance to the music that you're listening to, right? Like, um, you will literally be tapping yourself into the vibration of this thing that is making you feel good or that is resonating with this mood that you're in or trying to capture or what have you, right? Like, uh, and if you don't think that that makes sense or if that's real, have you ever been to a nightclub or a lounge or somewhere out at night? Have you, right? And you hear a song that you like, do you just stand still? Nah, you probably start dancing. You maybe even sing out loud. Think about when you having the best time when you out. You know what I mean? You you might be a little bit closer to the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Going off the spirits, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And dancing and singing. You know what I mean? Sweating in the middle of the club, right? But you are feeling each vibration and aligning yourself with each vibration of these songs, man. You know what I mean? And they're resonating with you in the way that they do on a higher level. That's why you having such a good time. You know what I mean? You leave a spot if the music is whack. You don't stay. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know. I ain't been with nobody who stayed at a spot where we did not like the music. That does not resonate with how we feeling. You know what I'm saying? We get in there, we feel hey, you know what I'm saying? If I know the shit and I start singing the shit, right? Like I'm in the, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I can feel how my energy is growing and radiating and vibrating and mixing with all of the rest of the energy in the room because we all are tapped into this same rhythm, right? You know what I mean? So like I definitely encourage you to be more intentional about that, even when you sad and you playing a sad song, right? If you in love and you playing a love song, if you just got off of work and you playing the Lil Jon song, cause fuck that job, you know what I mean? Like whatever, bro. Like sing that shit out loud, dance to it. You know, if you driving, you know what I mean? Punch your hands with your fists at the stoplight. You know what I mean? Do what you can to get into the rhythm, into the actual vibe and vibration of the record. You know what I'm saying? Really use it for all of its worth, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, if it feels just that good listening to it, think about how much better it starts to feel when you really start getting your whole self in rhythm and in tune with them. I mean, another example of that is sex, right? Like, fucking to music, man, right? Like, not for real though, for real, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Um, that shit is something else, right? Like it takes it to another level often, you know. So like it's the same thing. It's that same vibration added to you. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think that's one of the easiest and simplest ways. If you not somebody who thinks you're gonna sit down and journal, or if you're not gonna sit back and reflect, you know what I'm saying? Like just tap into the music a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like
all of it.
I wanted to say I felt that fist at the steering wheel on a personal level. Coming home many nights from Guitar Center, and I'm like, fuck my job, fuck my boss. Yeah.
So I really appreciate this conversation. This is something where we want to make sure that we tie this topic in and allow our community to realize that the things that we do every day does have an impact in our lives, especially within our mental health. One of the things that we like to leave off with is how do we continue to expand this conversation, right? We have these conversations in private, in silos. How do we expand this conversation where, leveraging music as a therapeutic um, mechanism within our community? Because some people feel as though that, therapy can, like you said, Cassius, you know, therapy can only be in one particular way. You sit on a couch, listen to somebody talk to you, or dissect your, psychoanalyze you. But, you know, what are some ways we can expand this? Because I think between the three of y'all, you guys have a perspective that throughout the show, you guys have been showing how music somewhat changed your lives, right? Change your lives, calm some of you down, Nick, and and was able to kind of give you a perspective in life that made you appreciate the things around you. I'm talking about with Nick. I've seen the transformation from freshman year to now. You're two different people, and Cassius, look, music from when Nick was starting around to where you are right now. It was zero questions to me presenting the song to Ashley for us to leverage it on the show as our intro because it meant a lot to us. That you guys were willing to share that with us. So how can we expand this conversation to make sure that it's not just this one live, but it's part of our community as a whole?
I apologize.
No
I didn't.
problem.
I thought I muted it.
I was just giving you your flowers, good brother.
I appreciate that. Because I am also another person than who I used to be. From however many years ago. It was a longer time ago. And because I remember just, especially just being in Pittsburgh with Nick. Um, yeah, he knows. Um, it's growth is a beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for it. So much more grateful for it every day. And the role that music has played in my growth was very tremendous, and I'm sure that it is the same with all of us. Right? We wouldn't have grown the way that we did, and we wouldn't have grown the amounts we have if it wasn't for these chords and melodies and harmonies impacting us the way that they did.
So let me rephrase. Rephrase the request amongst the music community. Do you guys feel as though that there is a safe space to talk about how the music changed your lives? And if not, how do we create that safe space so that people aren't resorting to substances and realizing that there are other people that are going through what they're going through, and it's a safe space to kind of share because amazing music can come out of that sharing amongst different artists.
I mean, I think if you know somebody that you're making music with, or you just know somebody else who makes music, like you know them, you willing like to a point where you can be vulnerable. Then yeah, I think there's I hate to say community built across the fuckery that is the music industry at times, or the stress or the struggle that it is, right? But I mean, yeah, it is easy to build relationship across a similar struggle. You know what I'm saying? And so I think those conversations happen a lot. I don't know that they happen quite as vulnerably or quite as genuinely all the time. That leads to like true breakthrough for folks, you know what I mean? And so as much as I think we can encourage that, it's hard too, right? Like we artists, right? What Erica say, we sensitive about our shit, you know what I'm saying? So like we we gonna be vulnerable, but probably to a degree. You know, I think one of the most uh, dope things for me has been talking to other artists and especially other rap niggas, and I'm talking about like niggas who have been talking to me about how they got into therapy. You know what I'm saying? Which helped me to eventually get into therapy. You know what I'm saying? I'll be talking to other niggas about it because that shit is very helpful. You know what I mean? To have somebody to talk to who then kind of understands maybe how you handling your feelings or the day to day in a way that you don't and can explain it to you. You know what I mean? In a way that might be useful for you. You know what I mean? Like, but I mean, I think just in general, just being willing to not just be vulnerable with the homies, but to be available for them. You know what I mean? Right? Because if you you know what I mean, if you out if you I ain't gonna say like if you in the game you know everybody, but it's people that you know in your music community, right? And if you see them regularly, you get a general idea of who they are and how they are. Um, you can tell instantly if somebody is toxic or maybe seems like they dealing with something, right? But you can also see the changes in folks, right? And so um, I think with us, just like any other community of people, right? Like being empathetic, making ourselves available, you know what I mean? Uh, not patronizing anybody else's situation, you know what I'm saying? But just genuinely being there for folks. Yeah, I mean, I think that that'll help take people a lot further. I think there's an issue sometimes because this shit is also at times competitive, especially if you're talking about rap, right? You know what I mean? And so, um, nigga, damn sure gonna have a harder time being vulnerable with folks that ain't like internal. You know what I'm saying? Because you might not be able to show that weakness or feel like you're able to show that weakness for fear of attack or undermining or some other type of sabotage, right? Like unfortunately, you know what I mean, it's weird we act like niggas ain't out here just listening to all the music. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers put out an album every week, right? Like we used to wait for music, at least, you know what I mean, from a smaller subset of artists. It's a lot of artists, but it's a lot of listeners right now too, right? Including other artists. So like I don't know why the competitive nature has to exist here, but it does, you know what I'm saying? And so I think that is at times also discouraging, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't know what we do about that part, you know, like that's a part that I ain't figured out, you know what I'm saying? I mean, stop caring, cause I'm not competing with y'all. No, I'm not trying to compete with y'all niggas, man. Y'all got it, you know what I'm saying? Like, school out here, baby. I'm not trying to run up and down the court. I'm just in the corner shooting threes, bro. Just minding my business. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all do y'all thing, bro. Like, it ain't competitive for me no more. It's just let me put it out. So like, I think once more people can get to that place, you know what I mean? Then yeah, maybe we can start being a little bit more vulnerable with each other, a little bit more vulnerable just with the music in general. You know what I'm saying? Like, how healthy would that be for the community as a whole? I wonder. Sorry, I just been smoking. You know?
Yeah.
But you know what though, and I agree with that what Nick just said, because it's like, especially like in the rap community, there's always this thing like when you help, like especially like where I come from in Cleveland, like that it's not like, it's almost like they feel like it's not enough food to go around for everybody. Like, yeah, we got these big ass plates, but it's not enough food. But it's like, bro, I don't know. First of all, I'm vegan, so my food grow naturally. It's always gonna be food. You feel me? Like we it's always gonna be food. It ain't never not enough food, yo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that if we keep that type of mentality and like instead of competition, we try to fuel community, we'll be a lot better off.
Yeah. you have an abundance mentality though, Cassius. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's important. An abundance mentality shapes the way you move through the world. If there's enough for everybody, everybody eats. But if there isn't enough, then I'm hoarding for myself. I think with regards to the question, there are realities and there are personas. And oftentimes artists are living in a persona, and their perception, even within their so-called tightest circles, surround that persona. And they can't break into the vulnerability, break into the compassion, break into the empathy, because they can't move beyond whatever scrutiny their persona might come under, as Nick said. Like, that creates that conflict. I know there are amazing conversations that happen in studio walls that sometimes birth the most amazing music, but they sometimes stay right there because their persona outside of the reality that existed in that conversation can't exist on a record because they're two different people, right? And so I want artists to embrace their allness, right? Embrace that you're healing, you're in therapy, embrace that you're vegan, embrace that, you come from a certain kind of background. Once you embrace your allness and you show up as your all, because that competitive nature is real, like, it's there. And who shows out the best, who shows up the best, like, all those things are real, and they can be fruitful. Competition can be fruitful. It doesn't have to be neck and neck, dog eat dog. I done seen Beanie Man versus Bounty Killer versus. I thought I'd never seen that in my life, the way they was going at it when I was growing up. It was just beautiful to see them competing and to bring it back for the culture. With that being said, I've been in some amazing studio sessions that created amazing art, birthed from conversations, birthed from real. I think our dialogues need to be intentional. Artists need to sometimes just sit and be present and then take note and take it in what people are saying, to again be the translators that we can be, and let some of those personas die and just really show up as who you are. And there are vibrations and frequencies that will gravitate towards you, and there are vibrations and frequencies that you'll repel, they will go away from you because they won't be in alignment. I know, the Clubhouse thing was popular and probably is still popular now. A few months ago, everybody's on there trying to connect with people, and everybody's a this and everybody's a that, from what I'm told, because I've only kind of interacted with it a couple of times. But just the whole clout chasing, I'm trying to be this, so I'm trying to be seen as that, and it leaves very little room for vulnerability. And then oftentimes vulnerability comes at the expense of downing someone else and not healing yourself. And we just ain't got no more time for that, man. Black love is the most revolutionary act. It's the most revolutionary thing that we can do, be a part of, take place in. So when we love one another platonically, when we love one another romantically, it is the revolution. It is the televisation of the revolution. And so we need to be intentional about that, loving on each other in an artistic realm, and encouraging each other to be our best selves, so that we could all heal and we could all get there. We could all eat, as Cassius says.
Absolutely. This has been a great conversation. I wish I had like more hours to just sit here and listen to y'all just talk about being artists and pretend I'm one too. So I thank everybody that tuned in. I thank y'all for joining in today. Before we leave, can y'all let the people watching know what y'all have coming up next, where to find y'all's music, and I'll also add these links to the video sometime. That's it. Sometime I'm gonna add them. I promise. what y'all got coming up?
My group, Black Roots, that's at BLAQUEROOTS. We have a new single coming out really soon, probably about a week or two. It's called No Limit, and it's fire. We shot the video. We are in the process of just fine-tuning some things and making it come out right for y'all, and we're going to be releasing our album self-titled Black Roots. That's myself, Nakiba Roots, and Mike Black, my partner in crime. Shout out to Mike Black, wherever you at, my brother. we will be releasing our album. But you can follow me at Nakeeba Roots, NAKEEBAROOTS, and my group at Black Roots at BLAQUEROOTS. So look out for our single No Limit. Look out for our upcoming album titled Black Roots. It's gonna be fire. Really, really, really dope. I'm proud of it.
Go. Please go.
I'm gonna say the same thing you about to say.
No, you're not saying.
Oh well, you know, me and Nick got some fire in the cut. It's some fire, FYE fire.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, I mean, I don't know like really the solid release date for my stuff, but I hope to have some stuff. Well, not even hope. I know I'll have some stuff released by at least the next month. You know, I'm planning on dropping a tape. It's gonna be called Bliss in Bedlam. Um, that is it's just like it's real important to me because it's just like it's gonna be some of my most emotional music that I've made, and it's gonna also be my first ever project that I'm releasing. So I'm super excited for that. Like I said, me and Nick got some stuff in the cut. Because we got his tape. He got his tape that we working on too. I'm gonna let him talk about that some more. But and then I know me and him gonna do a collab tape as well, like a duo tape. And I'm still trying to debate if I am going to sing the entire tape. You know what I'm saying? Because I might want to rap a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I've been crooning lately, man. I've been singing. Nah, it was, yeah, I'm excited about that. But if y'all do want to find me, I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. My Twitter is just Cassius G, like just all one word. Cassius G has a spell right there, and my Instagram is Cassius G 216 as Cleveland, Ohio. So yeah, like, very soon cometh.
Yeah, man. Got some music on the way. Got a record called Drift. We probably got to put out very soon. Cassius G actually produced. Um, it's a smoke song, but I like to dance to it. So I don't know. You do with it what you will.
For sure, two steps to that motherfucker.
You know what I'm saying? And then just I've been working on some shit to just that feel good. I got a tape that I just been riding around. Some songs for my ride. Very kind of channeling some nostalgic Texas shit that I love. You know what I mean? But trying to make it a little more current and a little more me. You know what I mean? So be looking out for that. And then yeah, I actually got another something else in the works by the end of the year that gonna be a little something else. So yeah, you know what I mean. Shit happening, man. Shit happening, man. If you're looking for me, I'm at Nick Pratt Music on everything. NICKPRATTMUSIC. And if you're looking for any of my music, man, it's streaming on all digital service platforms. You know what I'm saying? Nick Pratt, last Manifest Destiny shit. And then also The Slab is the group with me and my boy the Osa. We put out the project in 2019 called And the Funky Zone. That shit is funky, boy. Man, so I definitely recommend you check that shit out as well. But yeah, man, Drift coming soon, songs from my ride coming soon. More music, more love, more energy, more peace, more blessings, all on the way.
All right, I'm a drop mines too. Season 2 of Travel Tuesday Happy Hour now on YouTube, streaming every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Grab a drink, listen. This season we've been around the world, literally, from New York to Vietnam, and then
Hey.
You
Yeah,
and me.
where the fuck you at right
It's
now?
been
Papa?
really an amazing experience. Yeah, I had to hop off.
You and me.
So
Go back
literally,
to
we went
Vietnam.
from New York to Vietnam, back to Chile. We hit a lot of different countries this season, and I really want you guys to, give it a chance. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and keep me posted of what kind of content you guys would like to see or who you would like to see on the show. All right.
Hey.
All right. Well, that wraps it up. Thank everybody that watched. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so y'all see us in 2 weeks when we have another episode about something you probably want to see. Thank y'all for tuning in, and that's it.
I